Welcome back. We now segue to our conversation where we center it around automating SACCOs and microfinance institutions. My guest is here, Hassan Issa, who's the head business development Fintech Kenya. Hassan, karibu sana. All right. We just begin by looking at, as someone who's in tech, we look at how the digital transformation, how is it revolutionizing SACCOs and microfinance institutions from where you sit?
Thank you. It has been a very crucial part of the development of the SACCOs in the past 10 years, where SACCOs have grown, not just from that perspective of grassroots mobilization of funds and helping, the mwananchi from that level, but we could. Then growth with that, the scaling of that, it means that we also have to scale in terms of our efficiencies. And that necessitated that we actually get efficiencies through technology, that we build systems within the current existing manual systems and so on to ensure that the processes, the workflows within the SACCOs are actually being done in good time. Members now can be able to access their funds easier. So what we've done for the SACCOs is to ensure that in almost real time, the members can be able to do services that are extended now from the SACCOs themselves. They don't have to go necessarily, let's say, to the branches and so on.
So everything is just at the click of your button. That's what
you say.
Yes.
Simply put, yes. Everything is at the click of the button. But with this also, we are continuing to build around this so that we can be able to help the member even more. Remember, the member is, apart from savings, they're also interested in the dividends that they're actually getting. So likewise also, we have to ensure that the SACCO is actually disbursing this also as soon as it happens. As soon as they're ready for disbursement at a click of a button, then they should be able to receive. So essentially, we have also helped to bring the SACCOs themselves and their members towards other services that are offered within the market, which are beneficial to the members. For example, for deposit-taking SACCOs, where they can be able to access that in channels. Beyond that, then there are also those interests that are that based on the kind of SACCOs that we're actually talking about. We have SACCOs that are based on agriculture, and within that, you may find those who are in crop productions, supporting farmers who are in crop production, those with milk, and so on. And so we have systems that, beyond just the usual savings and so on, bringing of money, but we're also talking about filling in these gaps that are there in terms of these SACCOs who are also interested in helping their members to market their products and also to track all these in terms of quantity and value.
So basically you're saying that this just goes beyond automation, digitalization of the SACCO itself as an entity of the MFI, but also there's how that end user, the consumer, is benefiting in form of dividends and interest and the likes.
Absolutely.
And that is supposed to be done in a very easy and quick way with this digitalization.
And not just that. Remember, security is a key component.
How does that come in?
So again, with the growth that we have experienced also in SACCOs and the vibrancy in that segment, what you see is that we have to ensure that while we are proliferating in terms of application services that can be accessed in real time, we also have to ensure that from the very beginning, the initiation of that transaction, inquiry or transaction, that the member is protected. That's number one. Their details are protected. And then the information is transported to the SACCOs securely. So what does that mean? That from the very moment that the member, for example, wants to inquire something or is transacting, beginning to capture that information, from that very level, there has to be encryption that is actually applied. So that information should not be able to be read. And when it is traveling from the user's phone to the Sacco systems,
Yes.
it is secure all the way up to the point of storage. Now, here's where fintech, given we've been in this industry for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I know right now you have fintechs as a, more or less like a category in terms of in the industry, in terms of providing solutions. But us, we have been there for over 30 years and have been bridging this gap between business and technology for quite a while. And in that, we have got skills and experience in some of these things. So such that even from the core system perspective, we are not just protecting the information even as it sits, but even as it is transformed.
Okay.
Yeah. So in other words, there is actually a key indicator for us that this is how the information arrived. Okay.
Yes.
And this is how actually it has been transformed. And each transformation, it has to be noted that it is actually by the right users.
All right.
Yeah. So in that sense, end to end, you have a system that is very secure across the board.
Okay. So then just elucidate a bit further, because now that you've been in the industry for a while, and now right now we cannot talk about anything and miss to talk about digitalization. With all the risks that there is, cybersecurity threats and the likes, would you say that SACCOs are better prepared to handle that, to protect themselves as well as the customer?
Yes.
And to what end of level?
I think if you look at it from the Sacco fraternity in general, okay, we are on a journey.
Okay.
Okay. From a technology perspective, us as providers, some of us, we have made massive steps.
All right.
Yeah, like Fintech Group has not just supported SACCOs, but also banks. So we have the experience that comes in terms of security, in other words, protecting the data from being stolen, from somebody hijacking the data and changing it midstream,
Yes.
and even when it is in storage. So if you look at we have adopted international standards in terms of encryption and so on. And from a technology perspective, the service providers, we have actually made massive steps in that direction. Now, I was talking about, again, Sacco fraternity in general.
Yeah.
So again, the adoption of these, there are different categories of SACCOs. There's those who have really gone ahead and really adopted high standards. But then there are also those who are also smaller coming up. And this is something that is also crucial in the services that we provide.
Yes.
And we're trying to cover all of them. So the ones who are coming up may not have enough capital expenditure to be able to spend to get some of these solutions at once. So what are we doing? We are also giving them very cost-effective ways of onboarding on systems that will also help them to be able to account for for all their operations and inputs and outputs, but beyond that, be able to also meet regulatory requirements. So instead of them having to spend so much at a go, then we have also been able to enable them to pay little amounts as they use. So basically pay as you go kind of arrangement.
Okay.
And this will help also further include them in terms of this element of security that will definitely have them at peace and also their members.
Okay. So then when we look at automation, it's poised to increase efficiency, reduce operational cost, things such as those ones. And so when we look at that, how would you say, if that is catered for, how is this passed down to the benefits now, passed down to the end user, to the consumer? If now we are efficient, costs are reduced, as a member, for instance, what's the benefit?
For one, the reduced time means that you can actually realize more in terms of the deposits that you're actually making. How many times, Doreen, have you, let's say if there was something that was very specific you have to do at your banking hall or your Sacco, banking hall, and you probably wanted to deposit some amount or get certain things done, and you postponed it maybe for a day, for 2 days. You wanted to, you had the desire to,
Yes,
but you couldn't reach there. So in turn, if you look at that level, where you're given that convenience, it means that that money can be realized within the SACCO system immediately. So your SACCO will be able to actually receive that immediately. And if you look at it now, if you project this across the board, how many customers are actually able to do that? That means that the funds that actually the SACCO is received at once, then it's more, and therefore the interest that also can be you can actually receive from some of these is actually more, and also it enhances in terms of the borrowing. Now, when you on the other hand, also when you go on these other specialized circles, where we are talking about marketing and so on, goods and so on, you can only imagine the efficiency, the benefit of that when it comes to the element that goods are received, and any money that needs to change hands is done quickly, and it goes onwards to the market intended. So that in itself brings a lot of benefits, and from a financial perspective has a big impact.
So basically it's a win-win for every party.
Absolutely.
So then for this that are still held back with the manual systems, with the SACCOs, the microfinance institutions, what really are they missing out?
A lot of this, because the SACCOs, some of them are still on that grassroots level, and people are coming. And this is the nature of SACCOs, how they grow. And so we have to support them from that very inception. And so in terms of the membership, they may not have as much as maybe the other established SACCOs and so on. So we need to build step by step. We need to support them in the journey. We need to see that this is the viability and so on, and also invest in it, and in that way, we'll see then more of these institutions growing, and more inclusion in other areas of the country where otherwise would not necessarily have people included. And of course, the benefits that are realized in terms of savings and other products and that are also offered within the SACCOs. So most of the issues is around also that element of funding. And mobilization of also of the capital, but also beyond that is also the change that's in some areas maybe where they're not as embracive of technology, that they actually embrace that.
Do you think that's a major problem, being adamant, not really wanting to embrace change as is, so hence sticking to the manual way of doing things? Is that also a big challenge, and to what extent?
Yeah, that is a big challenge. I mean, if you really look at it from that perspective of enhancing the trust, safeguarding member deposits, and so on, these are very important. And therefore, the lack of embracing of these technologies also means that there can be less trust in the system. Now that can cause problems, not just with the members and the SACCOs, but also with the regulator. So in the aspect of compliance and tracking of key indicators that the regulator will be requiring from SACCOs. And recently we were at the Cusco Leaders Conference in Mombasa, and some of the policies that are coming in to ensure that we have certain capital ratios, capital asset ratios that have been there, but there's now a look into that aspect of bringing all SACCOs into regulation. Then that becomes very important for all SACCOs. So and
SASRA is doing that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Hassan. There's a lot we could have talked about, including is there any other option except just going digital as is, or what portends really for SACCOs as well as customers. But you're strapped for time and we have to cap it at that point. Nonetheless, we appreciate your time and your input into this discussion, automating of SACCO operations as well as for microfinance.
Really appreciate it, Lauren. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hassan Issa, Head Business Development, Fintech Kenya, has been our guest, just discussing automating of SACCO operations as well as microfinance institutions.